Good morning, watch nerds, or afternoon, or even evening, depending on where you live. Well, having done some research, I can tell you there are only a few reviews on YouTube regarding this particular watch, and I take great pleasure in telling you this is probably the worst one. Of course, I do my best though. Take note, this is a 2025 model, the PY056CX, which is smaller than the original. I bought my first Phoibos watch about 6 years ago, and I bought several since, this being the third in my present collection. In my opinion, they match the quality of brands such as Zelos, but offer even better value. That said, this watch isn't perfect, but what watch is? And I'll leave you to make your own minds up on that. And welcome to my unpaid and unsponsored review of the Phoibos Apollo. Let's get the money side of things out of the way first, shall we? Look on their Phoibos EU site, and this particular option is listed at €485 or £420, or listed on the Hong Kong Phoibos site for $485. As usual, they've got an offer, and as of January 2026, this gives you a 15% discount. In brief, after the discount and after you've paid the VAT and duty charges, it'll cost you about £420. I'll leave you to figure out the exact price according to the country you reside, then make up your minds if you want to buy one or not. As it happens, I bought this nearly new one from Simon over at Watch the Time for a very reasonable price, so please look up his review. It's arrived in this case, which is the newer version of the packaging, and so much nicer than the old one. It's a branded 2-watch travel case, made of synthetic leather, and it contains a 2-year warranty. I like to start my reviews off with the dimensions, so today I'm not going to make a change to the habit of a lifetime. When I say a lifetime, I actually mean about 5 years. The case is 39mm, although if you include the bezel, it's a fraction larger. The lug width is 20mm, the lug to lug is around 46.5mm, and the depth is 11.5mm, which includes a flat sapphire crystal with AR coating. Now, once adjusted to fit my 17cm wrist, it weighs in at about 150 grams. In my opinion, the watch wears the size. Keeping the watch running is the Miyota 9015 automatic calibre, a movement I've had in many of my watches, and presently have in about half my collection. Now, it's a 4Hz high beat movement, and it ticks away at 28,000 beats per hour. It hacks, it hand winds, and it's got a power reserve exceeding 42 hours. Now, if regulated correctly, these can be extremely accurate. These are not just reliable, but they've got a low stack, which means they can fit in just about any case. Now, this one's running at +2 seconds a day, but let's see how it performs on the time grapher. And there we are, a decent beat error, a decent amplitude, and a very good rate. The 6.5mm screw down crown is signed and it operates the movement without issue. As with all Miyota automatic movements, the winding is very smooth. As you can see, it's at the 4 o'clock position and is protected by crown guards. I have to be honest, I've never been the greatest lover of coated stainless steel. This is my first watch with one. Whether or not we bond, only time will tell. That said, this is DLC, that's diamond light coating, as opposed to PVD, which is far more likely to scratch and wear off. This almost makes talking about the finishing as irrelevant, although look carefully and you'll just about see the brushing, which is normally very good on Phoibos watches. Although I've never been the greatest lover of vertical brushing on the sides. To be fair though, this is pretty much the norm on tall watches. The case has got a nice curve and it fits well to the back of the wrist. Phoibos have left the case back in the natural stainless steel finish, which I think is a good choice. It screws down to aid the watch's claimed 200 metres of water resistance, is brushed, and it's got some basic information engraved around the sides. I'm a little surprised it doesn't have the octopus logo on the back though, but that doesn't really bother me. When Phoibos first started up, they were all about well-made homages, but quickly moved on to original designs, and you don't get much more original than this. And to be honest, that's what attracted me to the watch in the first place. We start off with a raised minute track that then leads on to a black sand texture dial. Of course, Phoibos produced this watch in several options, and I'll leave a link to their website below. However, Here's a picture of a few different colours. Under the 12 o'clock is the octopus logo, and above the 6 o'clock there are the words automatic and the water resistance. Now there's a frame date window at the 3 o'clock, although I would have preferred it at 6 if I'm honest. The large indices are at the 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, and they're sandwiched by the dial. However, the smaller indices are partly sandwiched and partly risen, something I've never seen before. Like the indices, the hands are chunky and they're very original. Now the minute hand is a fence post, whilst the hour hand is actually a shovel. As you can see, like the case, they're DLC coated, and the second hand tip is painted with a Photina loom. Now on the subject of loom, as you would expect with Phoibos, it's fantastic and it's going to last you most of the night. There's a mixture of what looks like BGW9 and old radium, but this may vary depending on the colour option you go for. Anyway, here's a speeded up video of that loom. I think you're going to be impressed. The loomed 120 click unidirectional bezel has virtually no backplay or bounce. It aligns perfectly, and I'm not sure if it's made of ceramic or DLC coated steel, but I strongly suspect it's actually ceramic. One minor complaint is that the early Phoibos dive watches had the most fantastic bezel action. Well, now they're okay. However, I have to say this bezel has got a better action than either my Narwhal or Delphinus. And I'd probably give it about an 8 out of 10. Now let's have a little listen. Finally, the bracelet and clasp. As you can see, they're both coated like the rest of the watch. It's a very well made H-link bracelet with female end links that taper down from 20mm to 18mm. Now it's got quick release spring bars. An adjustment is made by well engineered screw pins. The clasp is of the on the fly variety, so getting a good fit is a piece of cake. Now it's fully milled. It's signed, but unlike most other Phoibos watches, doesn't have the octopus logo on it. All in all, I've got no complaints about either the bracelet or the clasp, and to be honest, I don't think you will either. So what do I think of the Phoibos Apollo? It's a clearly well made watch, without doubt the most original diver in my collection. Whether or not I end up keeping it and bonding, who knows, but I hope we do. Now to be honest, I don't really have any significant complaints, and I think this watch, especially in this colour option, is going to be Marmite. That's to say, you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. What surprised me is how incredibly comfortable it is, and it's one of those watches you never really realise you're wearing. So that brings me to the end of this review. So if you've enjoyed it, click on the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, leave your comments below, and enjoy the rest of your day.